Meteorologist Jackson Chastain here with the latest edition of Weatherwise. Today I've got a two-bit topic for you. It's all about how hurricanes can be impacted, how their development can be slowed or even stopped. There's two things here that I'm going to talk about that actually can hamper the progress of a hurricane. One of those being Saharan dust. That's been the big topic of this hurricane season, is just huge amounts of Saharan dust has impeded development. Well, how is it doing that? Well, the key here is that these storms, they require a very moisture-rich atmosphere. If they have a moisture-rich atmosphere, they can build these storms all the way up to the top. When you have Saharan dust, what you're actually doing is that you're drying out the air above the thunderstorm. And if it can't develop vertically because of this dry air, it's not going to have any moisture up there. You can't get these storms to tower up very, very high. The circulation, however strong it may be, won't be able to support any kind of thunderstorm. And if you have a developing system as this one, it could have a lot of moisture, a moisture-rich environment, but if the air is dry above it, it's going to peter out, it's going to die. Now, the case is a little bit different if you have a mature cyclone here. Now, that can actually ingest some of this dry air, and if it does so, what happens is it could weaken a little bit. It's like if you have a car engine and you ingest dust into the engine. Well, it's not going to be good for the engine, but the engine's going to keep running. It's the similar case here with a hurricane. That circulation and the moisture is strong enough that it can keep on moving through despite the Saharan dust, despite the dust in the air. So it's going to weaken it a little bit, but it's not going to totally kill it. Now, the other factor that could take down hurricanes or even stop their development is something called wind shear. It often occurs at upper levels. You guys have all heard of the jet stream. Well, that's kind of a similar process here. You have these strong upper level winds that are going horizontally, and what that does is if you have a developing storm, it's trying to build up. Well, these storms are really huge fans of not having a lot of very, very calm conditions. They want calm conditions. They don't want very strong winds, because what happens is it'll blow the top off of this storm. It can displace the circulation from the surrounding thunderstorms that are building up, and it can ultimately kill development of these tropical systems. And the same can happen with a bigger system like a major hurricane. All it does here is it weakens it. It doesn't fully kill it. It can kill it if it lasts long enough, but typically what happens is it weakens it. The hurricane can keep going in some cases. In other cases, if it's strong enough, it can definitely not survive. So just a few factors that can definitely impact the development of tropical storms. That's the two ones: dust and wind shear. If you ever hear that in a discussion, just know these are the big factors. But this has been the latest edition of Weatherwise. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to post those to Facebook, Twitter. You can send me an email, but otherwise, you guys have a great one.
Weatherwise is brought to you by 4 County Electric Power Association.